This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Skol Gang 365. I'm your host, Garen Ryan. It's been a wild hell of a end of the season. My apologies for not having a show. I've been really caught up with work, so getting off of work, I've been dead fucking tired to where I'd fucking basically sleep the weekend away. But I am here. I'm well. I'm alive. It's 2025. It's officially the off season. I'm excited for Quasi in the Vikings. Really just turning this train around, like improve the offensive line. If we're gonna roll with any quarterback, the offensive line has to be approved. Two new offensive guards, throw in a center. Bradbury can fucking kick rocks, in my opinion. Garrett Bradbury's a bitch. Pardon my French. I say get one more safety as like a safety net. Obviously get a corner like DJ Reed, but really go after Drew Dahlman. Really go after Trey Smith. Hell, go after Will Fries. Just really unload and make a splash. The biggest what ifs right now is Sam Darnold. Is he gonna stay with the Vikings and take a reasonable pay cut, or is he gonna go out and get a bag somewhere else? My opinion, I think he goes somewhere else. He goes somewhere else. He gets paid top dollar. Obviously, it's not going to be with the Vikings. We do franchise tag him. That eliminates like half our fucking cap right there. Fucking tagging his ass. So Ginger Jesus, it was fun supporting you last season as our quarterback when McCarthy was injured and hurt. But good luck to your future endeavors. It was a pleasure having you with the Vikings. Phenomenal comeback year, but adios, amigo. I really want to roll with JJ McCarthy. I can't fucking stand Daniel Jones to save my goddamn life because he made a fucking bag off the Vikings. Okay. Kirk Cousins had one fucking job. That was to beat the Giants. Couldn't accomplish that. Okay, he only can beat the Saints in the fucking playoffs. We acknowledge that. Daniel Jones lit up our fucking defense that whole fucking game in the playoffs. Granted, they also did have Xavier McKinney at that point, but still, Daniel Jones made a fucking fortune. Well, looks like a fortune now because he's literally scraping fucking two dimes and a penny together. But dude made a fucking fortune off the Vikings. That one fucking playoff win. He hasn't done shit since. No, I don't want that dude as my fucking quarterback. Roll it, JJ McCarthy. Do whatever it fucking takes to have the most secure offensive line for a fucking quarterback. Okay. With the money that we got on our cap space. And go out there, have a hell of a season, and let's just see what the youngsters got. Let's just go out there and see what JJ can do. See what he can do with the offensive line. I also wouldn't mind Travian Henderson as a running back. We do bring Jones back. Who's to say, how long Jones has got? So I say Travian Henderson, Ty Chandler hasn't impressed me at all. So he can go. But the real thing that we desperately need, and it should have been fucking taken care of this last offseason, is the returner position. For the love of me, I can't get behind fucking Brandon Powell, slow ass, fucking returning kicks. Okay? I don't know in what right fucking mind that somebody thought it was okay to fucking put a 35 plus year old fucking guy with not a lot of fucking speed left in this tank to be back there to catch fucking kicks and shit. Okay, I need a fucking a human highlight reel back there, right? I need a Percy Harvin, a fucking Cordell Patterson, a fucking Devin Hester, a Jacoby Jones. Fuck, Darren Sproles. Not this fucking, run out to the fucking 25 and fucking get popped and like, oh, well, sorry guys, you're gonna have to start off with the ball here. Doesn't fucking sit right with me, dude. And the one guy who I thought was perfect for us to fucking return kicks, nope, they let him go. So I don't know. Honestly, I hoping that Mekhi Blackman can come back strong. Our corner that was out last year with the injury. I hope he can come back strong. I hope he's fucking healthy. I don't know what's gonna happen with Gilmore. There's speculation that he is gonna hang it up and retire. If he does come back for one more year, cool. but I still say go out and get another corner. It's most likely that Vikings aren't gonna keep Byron Murphy. Had a hell of a year this past season. I think he walks. I think he leaves. I think he goes, and it's like another Sam Darnold situation. Only, he showcased, that he's at that level and he can do what he does best and get interceptions. So I think he's gonna want more money elsewhere, possibly with a contender. So I think we bring back Cameron Bynum and obviously Metellus. I say we bring in fucking Calais Campbell. He's gonna be he's up there in age, but he's still fucking thugging it out on the D line. Bring him in and really just shore up that interior defensive line. Pair him up with Harrison Phillips. Nice little 1-2 combo there. And then I say it wouldn't hurt getting two more defensive ends. Don't know how long Tillery's gonna be here for. Really love Redmond. Really big fan of Redmond. We're pretty solid on the edge right now. I'd say one more middle linebacker. Don't know how long Blake Cashman's gonna want to be here. So that's obviously something to look at too. But I'd say also, look at another tight end too. I really like TJ Hawkinson and I really like Johnny Munt. But I think we need and Josh Oliver, great blocking tight end. I just think we need to add another splash at the tight end spot. But other than that, it's just grinding out and fixing that fucking offensive line. Seriously though, it's like the main fucking concern right now. Everybody's sitting here talking about Vikings going out and fucking getting Matthew Stafford. That's a big rumor right now. I'd be all right with it if we didn't have to give up the fucking first round pick. After seeing that, Stafford's not worth a first round fucking pick. And given his age, yes, he's won a ring, but no. And absorbing his fucking contract, nope. I'm not all right with that. I mean, a team like the Saints, the fucking Raiders, the Titans, they could do it. They can fucking absorb that contract. But biggest thing for me is Vikings really need to capitalize this next season. When it comes to really like big teams, tough teams, they really need to do some groundwork and really fucking study the film well, practice well, and just game plan better for these big games. Got beat twice by the Lions, and got beat twice by the Rams. You know, we're only projected 6 to 7 wins, so going out and doing the damage that we did with Sam Darnold, obviously that was a amazing feat, but I'm sorry, but being a Viking fan and only living for these moments doesn't sit right with me as a Viking fan. As a Viking fan, I deserve more, okay? I want to see the fucking team get to the Super Bowl, play in the Super Bowl, fucking win one. You know, playoffs is cool. You know, some people have their fucking aspirations set on just, making the playoffs, you know, just being there in the fucking playoffs. Bro, I'm getting sick of just making it to the wild card round. Just making it to the fucking divisional round. Making it to the NFC Championship game just to fucking get blown out or lose by a missed field goal or some bullshit like that. Fuck that, dude. I wanna win. I wanna fucking win now. That's what mode I'm in. I cannot stand fucking anything that's fucking mediocre. Nope. That's just the definition of half-assing everything. Fuck no. You don't get anywhere in fucking life half-assing anything. Need to have that fucking that winning mentality, and shit's gonna fucking change. Hard work pays off, and I really think if O'Connell, Flores, and Quezzy really go out, have a strong free agency, have a strong draft, and really do a fucking 180 to their fucking game planning when it comes to these fucking games coming up on the regular season schedule, and really fucking showcase that win now mentality. I think this team can go places. Last year during the season, I absolutely loved hearing Kevin O'Connell's locker room speeches, the end of the game speeches, all that shit. And I really do believe that with the with the with the right people and just the right people around the players, I think there's every fucking inch possibility that this team can win. I really do. I really, I really do hope that we do get rid of Garrett Bradbury. I'm hoping that we end up getting something for him, like picks, a fucking player, something. We end up getting a player for him. Better be a fucking player that's worth it to me. So couple of these free agents I got listed here. I think in this list, 22 players. I think they can have an impact on this Vikings team. Drew Dahlman, obviously, fan of him. Go get him. Way better than fucking Garrett Bradbury. Will Fries, he'd definitely be a starter on the offensive line. Sante Samuel Jr., I think he'd be a wonderful corner for the Vikings. James Daniels, think he'd be a good guard. Byron Murphy Jr., I mean, if he wants to take more money elsewhere, he's gonna go elsewhere. But it'd be cool for him to team friendly deal and stay. Aaron Jones Jr., senior. I'm hoping he comes back. Otherwise, he goes elsewhere. Calais Campbell, yeah. I really believe that he could help our defensive line. Stephon Gilmore and Shaq Griffin. Really loved having those guys on the team this past season, and having that veteran presence in the secondary is going to really help and mold these young guys. So if they come back for another year, I think that would be excellent. But otherwise, if they decide that they're going to hang it up, they deserve to retire. Cam Bynum, Harrison Smith. I think we can bring back Cam Bynum. I think we can bring back Harrison Smith if he doesn't decide to retire yet. T. Higgins, that's a fucking very big long shot. I don't think that we'd even have that fucking shot at getting T. Higgins. That's why I put him towards the bottom. But at that point, it's just like you're looking at a fucking Madden fucking wide receiver room. Now here's a guy I think could come in and really be a splash if he's healthy, because he is coming off of injury. Come in, come back home, have a splash, and that's Stephon Diggs. You look at his 1 year deal he had with Houston. At this point in his career, I think he's already made a ton of money, and now it's just doing what's in the best interest for him. But I think a reunion needs to happen. Cam Robinson, I say bring him back. He needs to be a safety net in case say O'Neal or Darisaw go down. and he can be there on standby. Very, very great tackle. Loved having him on the team, and we didn't have to give up a lot for him, which was awesome. Dre Greenlaw, I would fucking go insane if we ended up picking him up and he was on our defense. Justin Fields, if we don't roll with Daniel Jones and Darnold walks, I would not mind bringing in a young Justin Fields and let him go to the Kevin O'Connell quarterback rehab. Najee Harris, I think he'd do wonderful here. Only issue with him is his fumbling. He needs to work on holding on to the ball. Zach Bond, great linebacker, just coming off that Eagles Super Bowl victory. I hate to say it, but I think he returns to the Eagles. Hufanga, I'd love to have that dude as a safety on this team, but I think he stays with the Niners. Nick Bolton, another guy who I'd love to have as a middle linebacker. He's young. I think he'd pair up well with Ivan Pace Jr. But again, that's another guy that the Chiefs are going to have to decide on. So Nick Bolton and Trey Smith, they're going to have to really, really decide. Here's a guy who I would not mind playing as on the D line as a defensive end, and that's Chase Young. And he's young, and he's on the field. He's a great player, without a question. There's no denying his ability when he is active and playing. Absolute beast when he's playing. Just needs to stay healthy. Cheap option. I'd bring him in. Kevin Zilter. And he's old. He's a vet, but he really knows the offensive line. Somebody you can bring in for cheap. Ain't gonna cost that much. But is he gonna stay healthy? Or gonna have any fucking problems with this guy? I think it would be cool. Bring in guys that can really help and benefit this team. I mean, working with possibly $63 million in cap space, I would really hope shore up that offensive line. 2 new guards. Bring back Cam Robinson. Hopefully fucking trade out Bradbury. Get a new center. Hell, draft a running back. What's going on, Colin?
What's going on, Darren? How you doing, man?
Watching my parlays and then just talking about what the Vikings can do with the $63 million in cap to really improve this team. I think it just starts with the offensive line. 2 new guards, fucking Cam Robinson come back as an insurance policy, and see what you can get for fucking Bradbury. I'm willing to take a bag of peanuts at this point.
They need to move.
God.
I don't know if you get a bag of peanuts for him. Maybe a bag of cashews, maybe. I would cut bait with Bradbury. I mean, to me, he signed, sealed, and delivered his fate when Grover, I think it was Grover Stewart from the Colts, pretty much Sid Vicious power bombed him on that play in that Sunday night game. He was just, sometimes you got to cut bait, and I feel like you need, especially, I think one great aspect of having a new center is having a new quarterback. If you're going to go with JJ McCarthy as your starter for the next season, I think developing that chemistry and developing a symmetry with a new center, to me, that's how you start building that cohesiveness throughout, whether it's Michael Juergens, whether it's drafting somebody in the draft. You got to get a bigger center. I mean, Bradbury gets lifted way too much. The guards. I mean, the popular name out there is Trey Smith, obviously, and I wouldn't be totally against that. I know there was and I was watching Purple Daily today, and I was seeing that Mackey was saying like getting like a guy like Macari from Baltimore, having him be one side guard, and then signing Mekhi Becton as the right guard, and you could get it for the same price as if you were to get Trey Smith. Trey Smith is more of an elite guard, but if you could get two guys for the price of one, I would not be offended by that, especially if you are going to move on to a younger center. I feel like moving on to that younger center would help by having two veterans next to him. So,
right, exactly. I think like with Trey Smith, yeah, I'd love to have him, but at the same time, it's like we're not the only team that's going to be gunning for him. The Bears are going to be fucking gunning for him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it wouldn't stun me if Kansas City franchised him too. That wouldn't be totally out of the realm of possibility. But I know they've got a lot of money tied up in a few players, so I wouldn't be stunned if Kelsey retired, and that would probably help their case in keeping him. But if I'm the Vikings, I would look at those two. And I know I've been kind of trying to stir up the pot on this one. I wouldn't mind seeing them go after Justin Fields.
Yep.
I think he would be a nice addition, not only as a backup or a possible bridge, but even if he's a backup, I feel like he has the skill set and you could work him in to the lineup as like an option player. Like if you don't know exactly what you've gotten McCarthy yet, I mean, you've got and he's a younger guy. I mean, I don't think he would cost a ton, maybe $15 to $18 million maybe for like a 1-year deal, but right. You could use him in many different ways. And if you were to definitely beef up that offensive line, I think you could use him more than ever. And another guy that I've been talking about that got cut from Miami is a Raheem Mostert. I mean, if you look at his stats the last 2 years, I mean, 2,400 yards and like 40 touchdowns. I mean, that's insane. That's insane. Yeah. I know he's older and I know he's injury prone, but would you rather pay $4 million for Raheem Mostert or play $7-8 million for Aaron Jones? I like Mostert a little bit better. And if they were to draft a running back and even maybe two in this draft, I'm buying for them to draft two.
I wouldn't mind Travian Henderson out of Ohio State.
I'm warming up to him a little bit. My guy that I really like is Ollie Gordon out of Oklahoma State. Yep. I feel like he was on a really bad team, but he is just a big physical running back. I like RJ Harvey out of UCF as kind of a third down guy as well. I mean, I think he was second in college football in rushing last year. I think people are buying in a lot on the hype on Cam Scatabo. I'm kind of in between on it.
For me, I think he'd fare better as a fullback.
Yeah, I mean he's got talent. He's very talented.
He's got the Mike Allstott frame.
He does, and I feel like with him, I feel like he needs a veteran running back to go with him. I think it's a thunder and lightning kind of a thing. Like if I don't know, like if he were to hypothetically go to like Tampa, and you had not that you're going off of the Mike Allstott thing, but if you have Bucky Irving and Scattaboo, like that could be a good one, I think, or maybe even like even in like the Giants. I mean, you get that Tyrone Tracy and him. Like, I feel like that could be a good 1-2 there. But I don't know if I see him fitting in Minnesota that well. But yeah, the guys I like are Harvey. I like Ollie Gordon. Travion is starting to enter that conversation. I hope to God we don't draft a running back. The only running back in the first round that is deemed worthy of drafting, and everybody knows it, it's Austin Genty. I mean, if that guy falls, it's going to be incredibly hard for the Vikings to pass on that.
I at that point, I'd say, good riddance, Aaron Jones, if he decides he's going to leave or not. But I'd say I'd look at Ty Chandler and say, well,
Ty's got to go. I was a big Ty fan, but Ty's got to go. If there's out of all the running backs we have that I could see on the team being here, it'd be Cam Akers. I mean, how many times can you trade for a guy?
I think he's one of the guys that stays.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's definitely one that can stay. I love CJ Ham to death, but you're paying a guy for 20. He's on the field 20% of the game. He's never on the field. If they used him more, I would justify it. I mean, if you had to pick between CJ Ham and Josh Oliver of who to keep, Oliver I would keep every time.
I like that fullback out of Texas. I think his name's like Cochran or some shit.
I don't think we need a fullback though. I don't think we're in a league now where you need a fullback. Like the only teams that really need fullbacks are guys like Ricard for Baltimore that's blocking for Derrick Henry, and maybe a fullback like Juszczyk, and a fullback maybe for Philly for Saquon. Like to me, you've got to have a proven elite back that you would really need a fullback for, and you've got to have the offensive line to be able to block so that it opens it up for that fullback. It's a little prehistoric at this point. I would rather have like a Justin Fields more than a CJ Ham, I would rather have that option because it's a faster guy and he's somebody who can get around the corner.
Besides, we fucking pass more anyway.
We do. Well, we need to run more. I think if we learned one lesson in this postseason, we need to run more. We need to roar more,
or just balance it out.
Yeah, I mean, and I go back to that game. Pretty much both of those games, but especially in the Detroit game. If we're gonna win, we got to be able to run the ball in the red zone. Like if we can't run the ball, every team's just gonna. They're not even gonna. They'll run a 3-man front. Like they're not even gonna attempt to try and run the ball. Like you gotta get those graders on the inside. I'm down for Tyler Booker at 70 or at 24 if Tyler Booker is there from Alabama.
I would mind that.
I'd be fine with that. There's a few guys I'd be fine with that 24. But if we could trade down to like a 27 or 28 and get that defensive tackle, or Deion Walker's my guy. I posted on the chat about it. That guy, again, this is like I feel like this is 3 years in a row or 4 years in a row where I've had a guy where I'm like, this is a huge guy. He's just going to be a space eater, but they need a guy like that. Like they keep passing on these guys. Well, I don't know what the buzz last year about Byron Murphy the second was, the guy that Seattle ended up. I don't know what the buzz was. These guys that are expert guys are like, oh, Byron Murphy, pressure him. Like if Tavondre Sweat wasn't there, they'd be double teaming him. Like there's no getting around. And Sweat has looked pretty good with the Titans, having Jeffrey Simmons next to him. So, and by the way, I'm still in on Dexter Lawrence. Trading the pick for Dexter Lawrence is still on my table. I mean, if they were to get Dexter Lawrence, forget about it.
Oh my God. I wouldn't even like imagine the limit that this defense could go to.
I mean, it probably would take 2 firsts. I mean, but with the way that Dexter Lawrence finished the season last year, I mean, maybe it might take a for that 24th this year and maybe a third next year.
Right.
I mean, but to get a guy like that, I would be in. I mean, that guy can stop the run and he can pass rush. So I am still 100% in on that. I get the thing about drafting guys, but to get a proven guy like that, that'd be very hard to pass on. But they need to look at corners too. Like outside of like defensive tackle at 24, or even if we trade down a little bit, you got to have a couple of guys that are at positions that are like, okay, if these guys fall, we got to take them. I think Jonty's on that list. Another guy I would probably put on the list is Siobhan Ravel from East Carolina. That guy is an absolute monster. I know he tore his ACL, but you can come back from those injuries. And it's something about getting those guys from small schools and being the only guys like that.
Levi Drake Rodriguez.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's see what he's got. I mean, he's a rotational guy for now.
Right.
I want to see him used a little bit more. Even Jalen Redmond. I mean, Redmond played better than Drake Rodriguez. So
true.
I mean, Kwesi has shown a knack for finding guys late and undrafted. He's just kind of struggled with the high picks. Like that's been my biggest bone to pick with him. Because I mean, the first year's draft was such a train wreck. Like I'm surprised he didn't get fired. I'm surprised he didn't get fired right there for as badly as that draft turned out. I
think if he has a bad draft this year, I think he's gone.
I don't think they'll give him the extension. I mean, he's got to. I mean, and it kind of sucks because he doesn't have a lot of picks, so he's really got to maximize what he's got. But I don't want him to pull a couple of years ago thing where I'm going to trade down and I'm going to trade down again and I'm going to acquire more. Like you haven't proven the guys that you have picked have been successful enough to justify doing that. You know, just pick the guy who's the best guy. Like when they traded back up for Dallas Turner in this last draft, I'm like, I mean, I would have rather had Jared Verse, and I know I even talked about it on a show before that draft. I was like, Verse was unstoppable for Florida State, and he was their main guy. Like, I'm always skeptical of guys from big schools and big programs because they're only a product of the team that they're on. Like you get them from Georgia, you get them from Alabama. You don't know. I mean, Lewis Seen, prime example. Even Dallas Turner a little bit. Now, I'm not totally closing the book on Turner because he had 2 Pro Bowl edges. I mean, Grenard and Van Ginkel were Pro Bowlers, so he's sitting behind them. So I'm not going to totally close the book on him, but I think if you would have drafted Verse, I think you could have played him in the down, like defensive end style as opposed to an outside linebacker. And you could have had Grenard and Verse and then had Van Ginkel as like the outside edge rusher. And I think they would have been a lot more successful and you would have been able to see what you had in them.
Yeah, Verse, prime example. He was all in Darnold's face every time we played him.
He was in a lot of people's face. He was in Jalen Hurts' face. So he was an equal opportunity guy when it came to that. So, and the Rams were supposedly not supposed to have a great defense, but they seem like they're pretty loaded up now. But we'll see. We'll see.
I think we go after corner in free agency. Somebody like DJ Reed.
Do we keep Byron Murphy is the question.
That's the thing. Is he going to want a lot of fucking money?
I mean, he's probably the top he's one of the top 2 corners on the market. So it kind of depends. Like, I know that they're talking about not re-signing Bynum, but I'm like, if you can get Bynum cheaper than Murphy, I might lean Bynum over Murphy just because of his. Part of it is you drafted Bynum. I feel like Murphy might have been a product of Flores' system and the fact that they had 2 veteran corners. mean, you got Gilmore, who they won't throw the ball at, and you had Shaq Griffin, who's a pretty solid corner himself. It gave Murphy time to shine. And I know people talk about, well, he had so many tackles and this and that. I'm like, yeah, but you want your cornerback making all the tackles, or do you want your linebacker making all the tackles, or, getting pressure on the quarterback? Like, if he's being forced to make tackles, that means something's going wrong to where he's having to make that tackle. It means the other team's got a first down. So, like, I don't know if he necessarily, like, when I think of like a cornerback for the Vikings that was a tackle, first name every single time is Antoine Winfield.
Yep.
I mean, that guy would run up in blitzes and coverages. I don't know if Murphy necessarily does that as much. I like Murphy, but I don't know if I would pay him $21 million a year either.
Right.
So
Winfield also ran up and just knocked the hell out of a running back too.
Yeah, don't get me started on not having his kid over Gladney. I'm still sore about that draft too. That would have been a hell of a draft. You walk out of that draft with Justin Jefferson and Antoine Winfield Jr.
That and fucking
would have been nice.
That and Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, well, Hamilton or Jordan. I'll still say Jordan Davis too. I mean, again, it's something about having that huge defensive line that we just. I mean, when we were good, like, I mean, I think we're like the number one ranked rushing defense for like 2 or 3 years when we had Kevin and Pat Williams.
Yep.
Like, those guys were huge. I mean, Kevin Williams like 6'6". Yep. Pat Williams maybe about 6'3", but he weighed like 360 pounds. Like, these guys were just gigantic, and they knew how to play their position. I just think they're trying to get all these smaller guys like Tillery and Bullard and Ward and Phillips. Like, they're good players, but like they're not really taking up a lot of space. It'd be nice to just have that really big defensive tackle. I mean, Kenneth Grant looks like he could be one too. So I'd be on that. But Walker to me is the guy. I mean, I feel like if you were to trade down a little bit, and let's say you could somehow pick up a second round back, or even like maybe a high end third round pick, I feel like Walker could end up being there, or you could maneuver up to get him too. So.
Right. I think Booker or Walker would be.
Can we get them both?
I mean,
can we get them both and then draft Ollie Gordon late?
Hey, I mean, if Klesi can work some magic where he fucking ships off a fucking second from next year, first in capital this year. I like his. I mean, there's things about the draft that I don't like about Kwesi, but I will give Kwesi credit on this. I mean, we've got $60-something million in salary cap space. I don't know what our salary cap situation is looking for next year, but if we were to sign the right guys, like our own internal guys, and sign the right guys, if we were able to move around a little bit in this draft and get some future draft capital and just maybe load up for next year, I would be okay with it, because I feel like there's really only 2 or 3 positions that I feel like the Vikings really need to focus on, and that's guard, and that's defensive tackle, and running back, and corner, like about 3-4. So those 3-4 positions, I feel like they can just, with their 3, 4, 5 picks or whatever they end up, just go with those guys. Double up on a position. Right.
Double up on D tackle. Double up on running.
Double up on guard.
I mean, well, I think they're gonna sign a guard. I think on the bottom end of what they would sign, I think Brandon Sheriff would be one guy that is a veteran that I feel like they could sign on a 1-year deal. But my biggest thing with that is you need to draft a guy to develop behind him. I think that's a big thing. Like, if you got a veteran guard and you can draft and develop somebody behind him, that's gonna pay attention. I mean, Sheriff would be a great addition for a year, because he has that veteran leadership, and he was still playing well with the Commanders this year. He opened up a lot of holes for that offense. So I think Sheriff's probably got one. I think he's got maybe 1 year left in the tank, but he's from Iowa. He he would be probably okay with just having to drive up the road. So Sheriff would be a one. Macari, Becton. Becton, I'm a little maybe on, but I mean, God, Becton's like 6'7", like 370 pounds. Like,
Yeah.
even if he's not the best pass rusher, he can just get in the way. At guard, he can just get in the way. That's a lot of man to push around. So,
Right. All right. Well, sir, it was great talking to you.
yeah, thanks for getting back on the StreamYard. The other thing you were working with never worked with me. So, stay on the StreamYard.
I'm gonna stay on the StreamYard.
It was so frustrating trying to get into those conversations, and I couldn't. So,
thank you everybody for tuning in to Skol Gang 365. We'll be here next Saturday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Skol.
Skol.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and Indians. The nightly podcasts are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skol Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports. Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails. NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the shows.